Have you ever thought about updating your bathroom? Look at all the choices. It can be confusing, and you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. We're going to narrow your choices and show you how to do it yourself at George Moreland Plumbing. To ease our confusion a little bit, we've commissioned Dave Charvet. I don't know how much we've paid you, Dave, but we need a lot of questions answered. First of all, a lot of the new sinks out there are those nice above-counter mounted sinks. How do you find a faucet to fit that?
There are lots of different faucets, and the biggest thing you have to consider when you are remodeling, if you're deciding to replace a faucet, is the type of sink you have. As you mentioned, there are above counter, which means usually the faucet sits on the countertop or comes out of the wall. More traditional sinks, such as we have here, three different types of drilling, as we call it. Each sink has different drilling for different types of faucets. This one is a one-hole faucet, obviously, because it has one hole where the water comes up and it mixes up here at the top. We have a three-hole faucet, which we call a widespread faucet because it is spread out wide. It's called an 8-inch center faucet. They're 8 inches apart between the two supplies that come up to supply the water. And again, these you can get in many different styles. You can get a modern style, or here, again, an 8-inch faucet, but a more traditional style. Most homes usually will have a 4-inch center faucet, which is what we call a center set, where they're all together. And we're going to replace one of those today and show you how you can really change the whole look of the bathroom with just a faucet.
Is it easy? Is it hard?
It's really pretty easy. Even you can do it.
Let's see about that. Well, this looks like the standard faucet. It's 4-inch spread,
right,
is that right?
Right, pretty standard faucet that most people would have in a home or an older home. And you can do amazing things just by changing out the faucet. You can change the whole look of the sink and the whole look of the bathroom. The faucet rather we're going to be installing today is a little more contemporary style, and again, same distance apart, 4-inch, and again, there are hundreds of different faucets you can choose from, and we'll replace our old faucet.
All right, now you said even I can do it. How many tools am I going to need?
You may only need one specialty tool, and that is what you're holding in your hand.
Oh, I happen to bring it.
That is, you brought it with you. It's called a basin wrench, and what this is, this allows you to unscrew those nuts that hold the faucet under the sink. And
okay.
You can't do it with a conventional wrench because you don't have enough room usually, but this one allows you to actually grab hold of the nuts that are underneath there and turn this in very little space. So that will disconnect the faucet from the sink.
All right, I'm going to need a bucket and some Teflon tape.
Yeah, a little Teflon tape later on,
okay.
And a good idea. First, most important thing is know where to shut the water off in your house. Sure. And usually it's right underneath the sink. There are two little shutoffs, hot and cold. Shut those off, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So right, turn them to the right, shuts it off. And then you disconnect the supply tubes, which come up underneath the faucet. And there's usually a little nut underneath there. And
righty-loosey. Left. Okay, I remember this.
All right, work on it.
All right, let's take a look. How do you do it? What's the first thing?
Pretty simple. Again, shut the water off at the wall, reach underneath the sink, shut the water off. Got the water off. Then we're going to disconnect our supply tube, which I'm going to disconnect both ends here in this case so you can actually see what it looks like. These are a flexible supply, which are really nice. Sometimes you have a solid one that's actually plumbed in. If you want to replace these, you can. This is a great time to do it. You're replacing the faucet. And these are great because they are a no burst, meaning that you can flex them, twist them, they won't break, and they're pretty much impervious to everything.
Now, sometimes these show, especially on a pedestal sink,
yes,
right? So you can get different styles.
You get these in brass, you can get them
right.
in chrome, and they're also solid types, again, which you can make and bend with a tubing bender, a little more technical, but these are the easy ones to do. Okay. And in most cases, if you have a cabinet under the sink, they're very easy. And these are available in different lengths, too. You go from 12 inches up to 2 feet long, depending on how far away you are from the water. So disconnect both of those, and we shall do that. And you have this little drain in the bottom of the sink called the pop-up drain, which is when you pull up on this little rod here, that's what pops this up and down. That you have to disconnect at the back. And that's, again, with sometimes a wrench, or usually you can just twist it off. And we will disconnect that, and we disconnect the little fitting at the back, too, as well, which is pretty simple. It's just a little clip in most cases, so that all comes off. And now we either use our basin wrench, or if they're hand tight, which in some cases they are, we can just loosen up these nuts for you.
Thank you.
That's what holds the faucet to the sink. And those nuts come up, again, both sides, so we're taking off hot and cold. And in some cases, if this faucet has been on here for quite a few years, sometimes people have used plumber's putty or caulking around it, which you really don't need to do, but some people have done that, and so you may have to take a little knife and very carefully cut around that to release it from the sink. But in most cases, it's just sitting there. So we remove the final nut, and now this should just lift out of the sink. So now we have, this is where we had these screwed on underneath the sink, and this is what held this onto the sink.
Okay.
The sink is in this area, so this would screw on and clamp it right down to the sink.
And you don't need anything to hold that on, plumber's tape, putty,
No,
caulk?
no, because there's no water coming at this point.
Oh, okay.
The water is at this point at the bottom. Then you'll use your Teflon tape
Gotcha.
down here.
Okay.
All right. So our new faucet, right out of the box. And again, same thing. We take these off first. See, I told you could do it. There you are.
Okay. I couldn't quite do it.
There you are.
All right.
So again, we just drop this through our hole. Now we're going to reverse the process. We're going to put these nuts on underneath, tighten them down, and then put our water supply tubes back on.
Okay. Voila, you have a brand new look for your bathroom.
That's it. Again, fairly simple. Probably about a half-hour fix, actually, for you to do first time. And again, you can take your old faucet and change the whole look of the bathroom.
Well, Dave, thank you very much. Now I feel like I can hire someone to do it themselves. No, I can actually try it myself.
You could.
All right. Dave Charvet, thank you very much from George Moreland Plumbing.
Thank you.